You know that. That's right.
No, that means.
Good evening, and welcome to the Joint Planning and Zoning Board and Board of Commissioners meeting of June the 4th, 2024. I am Briggs Simmons, the Planning and Zoning Chair. Prior to this meeting, announcements were posted and notices were sent to all board members, commissioners, staff, interested parties, applicants, and those others participating in the meeting. I will now turn the meeting over to Phil Miller, Chairman, to introduce and confirm the presence of our commissioners. Mr. Chairman.
Good evening, and also thanks for attending the meeting. We'll call the roll. Vice Chair Mark Alcaraz.
Present.
Commissioner Ricky Dobbs.
Present.
Commissioner Whitney Jones.
Present.
We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you, sir. Also present, we have members of the Planning and Zoning Board. You confirm your presence when I call your name. Our Vice Chair, Rob Thomas.
Present.
Teresa Knowles.
Present.
Ori Curry.
Present.
Brandon Penniman.
Present.
Frank Payne.
Present.
And Kirk Nicholson.
Present.
We also have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Allison Duncan, our Planning and Zoning Manager, will now introduce the county staff and Planning and Zoning staff in the meeting. Ms. Duncan?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight we have with us our Chief of Staff, Tiffany Stewart-Stanley. We have our Deputy Director of Development Services, Travis McDonald. We have our Managing Director of Transportation, Suleiman Rana. We have our Senior Planner, Austin Cronin. We have our Planning and Zoning Board Clerk, Johanna Womack. And we have our Planning and Zoning Department Secretary, Kim Waters. And we also have with us our Sheriff's Deputies and our Communications team, and we are always grateful for their assistance. Thank you.
Thank you very much and welcome everybody. There is a reversionary clause that applies to each rezoning, and that is the applicant, the agent, or the property owner has 24 months to vest the zoning change after the Board of Commissioners have granted an approval. As far as tonight's procedures go, I will conduct the public hearing. Planning and zoning staff will announce each application, followed by a full presentation on that application. The applicant or their representative and members of the public in favor of an application will be able to present their information. They will have 2 minutes per person for an allocated time of 15 minutes. Members of the public in opposition to an application will be able to present their information. They will also have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 15 minutes to speak in opposition. After the opposition completes their input or the time has elapsed, public hearing will be officially closed. At this point, the staff will clarify any points of the zoning case. If the staff is unable to satisfy the board's questions, the board will then ask the applicant for points of clarification. And this is not a time for the applicant to represent their case. Planning and Zoning Board will then entertain a motion. Our first agenda item tonight is the approval of the minutes of our May 7th, 2024 regular Joint Planning and Zoning and Board of Commissioners meeting. Planning and Zoning Board, after reviewing the minutes, are there any comments, changes, or questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Chairman.
It's Kirk Nicholson. I make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Frank Payne, second.
I have a motion and a second. Planning and Zoning Board, do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the May 7th, 2024 minutes, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. Let's see, you were not at that meeting.
I was not at the
correct,
meeting.
Mark?
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
The minutes of the May 7th, 2024 regular Joint Planning and Zoning Board and Board of Commissioners meeting come to you with a motion to approve.
Board of Commissioners, we have a request from the Planning and Zoning Board to approve the minutes from the May 7th meeting of 2024. Are there any comments or changes that need to be made? Being none, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes from the May 7th, 2024 meeting as recommended.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? Being none, all in favor? Raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. At this point in time, I believe our next agenda item, Mr. Austin, do you have that item for us, please?
Yes, good evening, everybody. So tonight we have one agenda item. That's Z 2024 to...
Can you speak up a little bit or get closer to the microphone, sir? I'm hard of hearing.
Yes, sir. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So we have Z 2024-29. Applicant is Bert Stanetsky. He's pursuing a rezoning. The property is general commercial. At present, it's 1.514 acres. It's at 8237 Highway 166, Commission District 4. The property has an existing... They're advancing on my screen.
Apologies. Could our communications team check the slide presentation? Apologies,
No problem.
Mr. Chairman.
Apologies for that.
No problem.
All right, so the property currently has a single-family residence. It's connected to a well. It's right at the intersection of 166 and Williams Drive. Party wants to go from general commercial to residential low density. To bring the parcel into compliance with its current land use as a residence. We've analyzed the code and we don't believe this proposal runs contrary to the UDC. In 1988, there was a rezoning from residential agricultural to neighborhood commercial, now known as general commercial. It was never vested. Residential low-density designations are pretty uncommon in this area. However, we don't believe that this runs contrary to the intent of the comprehensive plan. The party wants to eventually split this property into 2 equally acred tracts. In analyzing it, we don't believe that the proposal runs contrary to the comprehensive plan, nor does it jeopardize the public health, safety, or general welfare. So here is a picture of the rezoning map. To the right, you have the church campus, and to the left, you have a general commercial property that was vested but now sits vacant. And to the to the west of that, you have South Douglas Elementary School. And here you can see the single-family residence is right at the intersection of 166 and Williams Drive. Party wants to split the parcel into 2 equally acred tracts. It's in the rural places future land use and the resort conservation character area. And staff is recommending approval on the request. We believe that the proposed use is a better suit for the land as currently used than general commercial. And we believe the rezoning will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare. And that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you very much. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this. If anybody wishes to speak in favor of this application, including the applicant or the applicant's representative, please approach the podium. You'd have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time, 15 minutes. If you'd state your name and address for the record.
Yes, hello, Bert
then you got 2
Stanetsky
minutes.
speaking, 6990 Williams Drive. I live right next to this proposed property that's we're wanting to change zoning to, so we can build a family home for my daughter. And like I say, we live right next door to the property. And next to us is the Daystar Tabernacle Church. And then on the front and the side is both vacant lots. And behind us is Mr. Williams lives there. You know, well, not Williams, it's named for Mr. Williams. He used to live there, but he's gone now, so. And I believe that's about it, so.
Okay. If you would stand by. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor of this application, please approach the podium. Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, please approach the podium. Again, seeing no one moving, I will close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the presentation. Do you have any questions of the applicant or of staff?
Mr. Chairman, Rob Thomas, I do have a question with the applicant. Staff mentioned that this property was vested, this property was rezoned in '88,
It
but
was.
not vested.
Right, well, my mother lived there, and she's getting old in age, and she did a lot of crocheting, and she had the intentions of maybe opening a little craft shop there, for her to sell her crocheting and things like that. But it never fruition, so it never.
Just paying higher property tax all those years,
Yes,
huh?
sir.
Okay.
So-
I mean, that's pretty much what happened, okay. So this time, this is a solid plan. What are you gonna do with that house that in the front there?
The house is up there will probably be demolished eventually.
Okay.
Because it's getting old, and I don't know if it can be rehabbed or not, so it'll probably end up being demolished so we can build a new house there.
Are you on sewer over there? Is sewer next door to you?
No, we're not, we're on.
You still on septic?
Septic, yes, sir.
Okay. All right, and by separating this, have you thought ahead as far as it going on to septic? I mean, it's only 1.8, cut in half, 0.9,
Right,
that's an
I
acre.
discussed all that with the zoning department as far as how much footage would be needed for a septic tank, and we went through all that to make sure that the 3,000 square feet per lot would be sufficient for the septic tank, which is roughly, I think, 3/4 of an acre.
Okay. And we'll do a perk test, make sure everything is
Right,
solid
that-
on both ends.
Yes, if
before
this
you-
is approved, then we would
Okay, that's my
start there.
recommendation.
Start
All right.
with the perk test, yes, sir.
That's the only question I have.
Any other questions, planning and zoning? Hearing none, Mr. Chairman, I'll throw it over to the Board of Commissioners for any questions you folks may have.
Okay, Board of Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments? We have none, sir.
No, thank you very much. If you would just take a seat, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion, you've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion on Z 2024-29?
Mr. Chairman, Rob Thomas, I'd like to make a recommendation to approve Z 2024-29, request for rezoning from CG General Commercial to RA Residential Agricultural, with no conditions.
No condition.
No conditions.
It's Brandon Penniman, I second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion, planning and zoning? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving Z 2024-29 as read into the record by staff, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Z 2024-29 comes to you with a favorable unanimous recommendation for approval.
Board of Commissioners, C 2024-29 comes to you with a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Board for approval. Do I have a motion?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept Z 2024-29 as read by Planning and Zoning recommendation.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any comments? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, same side. Motion carries unanimously, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. That being the only agenda item to come before us tonight, this meeting, Planning and Zoning Board, is closed. Mr. Chairman.
That's a record. We're closed.